Welcome to Up at Noon, a huge show for you today as Daniel Cook, co-founder and creative director of Spry Fox, comes through to tell me why the hell they're making a PlayStation 4 game when they made so much money on mobile with Tripletown. But first, not the news you care about. We're trying something different through E3. Up at Noon lead writer Brian Altano is here to show you the best Batmobiles to make love in.
In Batman Begins, this military prototype was originally intended to bridge massive gaps. So you're halfway there. The Tumbler is tough as nails and looks like a manlier Lamborghini Aventador. The only downside? Awkward positioning. Want to let your lover know you can party? Pick her up in the Batman Forever Batmobile. An expert grappler, this hyper-colored LSD trip will be right at home at a Gotham City rave, so you can keep the lights on all night long. If making love under the night sky is your thing, take a ride in the Adam West Batmobile. Based on a Lincoln Futura concept car, this is one of the few Bat convertibles out there. Just make sure you're cool with all of Gotham watching you unstrap your utility belt, because this car has no roof. This Art Deco-inspired masterpiece was brought to life by Academy Award winner Anton Furst, named after the base you reached when kissing. The '89 Batmobile featured a host of defensive countermeasures and a seat that perfectly fits a man-sized rubber batsuit. So if safety is your first order of business, look no further. This flying future car came from the 1999 animated show Batman Beyond. With smooth curves and a powerful jet thruster and invisibility to keep those prying eyes away, this is one of the sleekest and fastest Batmobiles ever created. It also opens up from both the bottom and the top, so maybe your lover will too. Please practice safe sex.
Thank you, Brian. Man, those cars look cool. Speaking of looking cool, Greg Way, my next guest has a really cool looking game called The Road Not Taken, and it's coming to PlayStation 4, Vita, PC, and Mac. Here to tell me all about why the hell they are doing this. They made Tripletown. It's Daniel Cook. As I live and breathe. How are you, sir?
Hello there. How's it going?
It's good. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
I hate to talk like an internet commenter, but you're doing it wrong. Like
yeah.
you guys had.
Well, how'd we screw up?
You come out with this Tripletown. It's on mobile devices. You make all this money, I assume, enough to grow this beard.
That's right. I funded it entirely with profits from mobile.
You're supposed to make the console game first, then be like, oh, there's no money in this. Then make the mobile game where you make all the money, and then only
you
make
sell
mobile.
out. We're supposed to sell out.
Exactly. You're doing the opposite. All this money in mobile games. You're ruining the console industry, and now, as if to piss on the grave, you come back and like, here's this other game.
It's like we're gaining morals or something after like
Is that what happened?
Living a hard life and saying, you know what, now this is our new religion. Maybe we've converted to a new religion at this point.
This is your come to Jesus moment.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Come back and give
exactly.
to the industry you destroyed.
But mostly it's because we like experimenting. We like trying new things. And we came up with this game that's actually a pretty difficult, hardcore game, and we thought, where's a place where people will love this?
Yeah.
And PC and console.
So
that's the spot.
In a nutshell, for everybody who's watching doesn't understand, tell me about The Road Not Taken.
Road Not Taken, it's a puzzle roguelike. So it's a roguelike. You adventure through this forest. You're a ranger. You're trying to rescue lost kids. It's wintertime. It's kind of a harsh environment. You have to survive.
I was going to say, your trailer and your gameplay, it's cute. You have like great looking graphics, all these things. But then the main character just keeps falling over and dying in the trailer.
Yeah.
Face plants in the snow.
It's ultimately a game of learning and skill, like most roguelikes, where you're trying to figure out how this world works. And when you don't figure it out, you tend to die a lot.
Yeah, well,
but that's how you learn, you know? That's sort of the loop that you go through in order to figure out and master the game.
So how does it break down on a gameplay? You're on a grid, you're going around, you're trying to match things up, right? I saw you grabbed like an orphan child and shot it back to its mom.
Yeah, you can
literally shot you.
Yeah, you can pick stuff up and throw it, and then we build this layer upon layer of gameplay from that. So it's like, oh, you can pick stuff up and throw it. Okay, so you can move stuff around. That's pretty easy. And then you figure out, oh, I can craft things together. So I'm starting to build fireplaces and tools. And then I realized that some of the creatures that I used to hate because they would kill me all the time can actually be used as food. And that lets me get further into this blizzard as I'm playing along there. So there's layers and layers, and there's lots of secrets. There's about 200 different secrets in the game that you can uncover as you play.
Sounds like it's going to be a real fun platinum trophy.
Yeah.
Pulling out my hair, trying to figure out how to do it.
If you didn't sweat and bleed, it wouldn't be worth it, right?
It's true. It's true. So then, are you putting a story into the puzzle mechanics? Because it talks about it being a puzzler.
Yeah, there's sort of a theme to it. The theme is it's based off this poem by Robert Frost, "The Road Not Taken," and one of the themes in that poem is the different paths that people go through in life, and how you kind of look back on it. And there's lots of ways you could have gone, but when you look back on that path that you've actually gone through, you tend to look back on it with like, oh, that was the best life I possibly could have had.
Sure.
Like there's all sorts of strange things that happen to get you to the place where you're at right now. And often we think, well, there's one path. I have to go to school, I have to get a job, I have to get married, have kids, and die. Right? That you die after kids.
That was dark, but sure.
And if you fall off that path, it's kind of over. And this is sort of a meditation on what happens when you live a different life.
So is that the incentive to replay it, you think? To go through and make different choices?
Yeah, you can play many different lives in the game. And there's a whole other part to the game, which is there's the town. And the town is almost like a little life sim. So there's relationships that you can form with the villagers there, and you can get married, and they can be jealous, and it's sort of it's this whole other layer on top of just the puzzle.
Skyrim mixed in with this puzzle game.
Think of it as a super hardcore roguelike open world puzzle game. If you can even imagine such a thing.
I can't. I've died.
You've died.
It killed me.
Yeah.
So, at what point you make Triple Town? You guys make all these other games.
Yeah.
At what point you start making a game and start thinking of an idea? You're not thinking of a platform yet. You're not thinking of, well, we got to put it to mobile. We got to do something like this.
No, it's sort of like we tend to be a very prototyping heavy company.
Yeah.
So instead of saying like, here's this game in a specific genre and we're going to make exactly the same thing except we're going to do this one little tweak to it. Instead, we start from the very base and we say, here are the really, really simple mechanics, throwing stuff. And,
there should be a town where you get married as well.
Yeah, and then you sort of build it up organically, and you kind of ask the game. You're constantly asking the game, what do you want to be when you grow up, right? And
does it answer?
It answers. Jeez. It talks to you. Oh. Those are called play tests. And,
okay.
Whenever you do a play test, and everyone looks at when the players are playing the game, and they're like, this sucks, or they're like, this is amazing. Whenever it's amazing, that's the direction it wants to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then now, how long has Spry Fox been around?
About 4.5 years at this point.
When did you hit with Triple? When did Triple Town become a big deal?
A couple years ago.
Why are you still making games? You're supposed to retire. You're supposed to take all that money and just walk away from it.
So the reason we make money is not to make money, but to make games. So I've been doing this for about 18 years now.
Yeah.
And the goal in life is not to have a mansion someplace. The goal in life is to just keeping making games until I'm like 70 or 80 years old. Then I'll be drooling and I'll be playing games with my drool, but close enough. I'll still be happy.
There'll be a market for it, if anything, you know what I mean? You can make that game right now for Project Morpheus.
That's true. That's true. It'd actually be insanely entertaining.
Right,
it's like watch your drool game.
Sure, hey, that's a free one for you. Get Adam Boyes on the phone. Yeah. So then, did you expect? You're making games to make games, and you just want to connect with an audience. Where do you start to worry about, or where do you make your expectations? I guess like Triple Town became a huge thing, right? Like everyone in the office was talking about it. Damon Hatfield saw me looking at it today, doing my research. And he's like, "What are you doing about Triple Town? The game's awesome." Damon doesn't talk like that, but it doesn't matter. Like, when did you realize you were onto something, or that it was going to become something more than a normal game?
So originally, we released it on an e-ink Kindle, which is essentially a calculator that you can read books on. People loved it. Not a lot of people played it, but people loved it. They kept talking to us about it, and they kept rating it really high, and we read all these reviews online, and we were like, wow, maybe we should do something with this. And so we just kept releasing it on other different places. And
getting all the juice from the apple.
Yeah,
all that money.
but not all games survive on all platforms.
Right.
And then it hit mobile and it suddenly took off.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a strange game because it's actually like really, really strategic. The good players of Triple Town, they play it for years and they're thinking like 20 to 40 moves ahead of time. So you really have to be this sort of like really smart, dedicated person to play that game well. And for some reason it took off on mobile, which was great.
Yeah. So what was it just that all of a sudden, like you say, it didn't work on all platforms. It had done stuff like on Facebook, and it would been.
It did okay on Facebook, but that wasn't. It didn't. There wasn't an.
It didn't catch fire.
It didn't explode. Yeah.
So did you see all of a sudden an influx of people tweeting about it, talking about it? Like, how does that get to you? I guess that your game's connected. Is it just numbers that you're seeing?
We'll read the reviews. We'll read the user comments. A lot of user comments. People will write to us. We've had Tripletown fan fiction, which is its own unique breed of writing.
Okay. Yeah. What does that go like? What is that?
It's about colonization. There's these extensive stories about colonization and the bears as the native inhabitants of the land, and yeah.
The bears? Okay, wow, that's interesting. I didn't expect that Tripletown to have.
Yeah, you know, people get into it. The thing is, like, a lot of the games we're trying to make are hobbies.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily like sometimes you'll say, like, oh, it's a piece of media, you watch it, and you kind of forget it, and you move on. What we'd love to do is make games that are, hey, you know, this is a game you're playing for years. And it's part of your life. It's like it's like the crossword puzzle or something, you know? It's like, I don't know what would be, MMOs are kind of part of your life. We made MMOs as well.
DC Universe Online. Let's talk then about like the games you're describing that you've made. You're incredibly deep, a lot going on. Was there a stigma to being a mobile game developer? Like, you know what I mean? Like sites like IGN, right here on IGN.com. You know, we'll talk about it, the fact that there's this clash going on, and we were worried where is it going to go and what does it mean? And things like Flappy Bird come out, right? And like I would talk to indie developers at PAX and say, oh, this game's kind of like Flappy Bird. They're like, the fuck it is. It is not like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
They didn't want to be in that same category.
Yeah, it's I mean, games have been around so long that we basically have different cultures, you know? And there's a culture of console games, and there's starting to be a culture of mobile games, but it really hasn't like gelled in the same way that the consoles or the PCs. You know, we talk about the master race of the PC gamer. You know, that's a culture.
Yeah, those drivers, those executables.
Yeah,
everybody loves them.
Yeah, but it's an identity, right? It's like you wear the shirt, you feel like an identity, and you know that's great. You know?
And why do you think that hasn't caught on with mobile, right? This is what we always talk about, right? Like literally everyone is a gamer.
I think you almost have to like have a generation pass, right? Like a lot of people have been gaming on their console since they were 5 years old or 6 years old or something like that. When I started, there wasn't quite the same level of like the word gamer hadn't metastasized, right? They didn't really exist. And I think the same thing has to happen with mobile. Like, wait a generation or two. And then there'll be people like, oh, yeah, I grew up on Flappy Bird. And Flappy Bird, why aren't people making retro cool games like Flappy Bird?
I'm sick of all this story and content.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, that's the way cultures work. That's the way generations work.
All right, the road not taken.
Yep.
PlayStation 4, PlayStation Vita, PC, Mac. When is it coming out?
This summer.
Okay.
Yep.
Sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, I tweet who's on the show. You tweet me a question, I read it here. Today's question comes, and don't get excited because he's not president yet, but president 2038. So in 2038,
nice. I know who I'm voting for.
He or she writes in and says, "Can we start the game on Vita and then take our save on the road with Vita?" Then 8 minutes later, he corrects the tweet. Doe, I meant start on PS4 and take on the road with Vita. Frowny emoticon.
So I'm trying to follow the flow chart here.
Can you start it on one platform? Can you start on your PS4?
We're still figuring it out. We're still figuring out exactly like how all that's going to work. There's like so many different options and ways of setting this up. Like, we'll make it nice. That's the main thing.
That's all I can ask for.
Yeah, you make it as good as you can.
All right. Yeah. Well, Daniel, thank you so much for coming by.
Yeah.
Everyone check out The Road Not Taken this summer. Now you clap. Thank you to Daniel Cook, Brian Altano, and you, my audience. If you want to be in that audience, go.ign.com/up@noon for details. As always, I'll be answering comments the first hour of this video is live, so come tell me your favorite PlayStation puzzler. Mine is Lair. It was puzzling how that game controlled. Huh? No? Well, all right. We'll be back next week with better jokes and WildStar, but until then, I'm going back to bed, Crohn's disease.